Welcome back to the show, guys. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Marlena Banks, and I am your host of the Big Idea Food podcast, where we teach you practical tools from a Christian perspective that help you build and grow the impactful, influential business God has called you to build. And if you've been on my email list for a little while, you know that I have dubbed 2020 as the year we get our mindsets together. But if you're new to the Big Idea Food family, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to have you and to bring you along this journey of elevating our mindsets together. It is Mindset 2020 all year long. So throughout this season of the show, I'll be sharing deeper insight into how to activate our mindsets to help us actually achieve all that God has for us to achieve in business and in life this year. So you can catch up by checking out our YouTube channel that has all our previous episodes in this series recorded right there for your viewing pleasure. You can also subscribe to my email list, where I'll send you a link to read my first newsletter of the year that really breaks down why I decided to focus on mindset this year, and just to give you a little bit more context. I'll also be in your inbox every single Tuesday with a fresh, hot off the presses devotional to fuel your week and your hustle. But in a nutshell, this season, I will be walking you through my own journey of leveling up my mindset and how doing so is helping me achieve my business and personal goals. I'll also be sharing specific tactics, methods, all the things that I'm using and what's working, what isn't working, and all of the things. In addition to that, I'll be interviewing some dope guests. Y'all, my guests are so lit. I love them. And many of them, all of them, have an awesome perspective in the realm of mindset to share with you. And I know that it is going to be really beneficial and help you develop a strong mindset for your business. So if you can't already tell, the Big Idea Food podcast has all your mindset needs covered this year. So if you haven't already, go and subscribe now so you can stay in touch with all this dope, nutritious food that is coming down the pipeline just for you. So now let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is overcoming limiting beliefs with my friend, life and business strategist, Shaunte Simons. Now, if you're familiar with Shaunte, you know she is the host of the gym-filled Pray, Plan, Slay podcast. But for those of you who aren't familiar with her, here is her official bio. Life coach, business coach, lawyer, motivational speaker, author, and counselor, Shaunte Sapphire Simons attained her Bachelor's of Law at the University of West England and her Master's in Law from the University of Law before returning home to be called to the Bermuda Bar. She is currently practicing law while she completes a doctorate in Christian counseling and cognitive therapy with Andersonville Seminary. Now, in addition to her professional pursuits, Shaunte is the founder of the Purpose Chaser Academy, a training and development company offering various courses, Christian counseling, life coaching, and business coaching. Shaunte believes in living a purpose-filled life and teaches her students to be purpose chasers. Shaunte is a world traveler and author of Reflect, Plan, Achieve, a self-help book, and also the author of the Find Your Purpose Guide. She has written multiple articles on faith, self-love, and travel, and has been featured on blogs and interviewed on multiple radio and talk shows, both locally and overseas. And in September of 2019, Shaunte launched the weekly Pray, Plan, Slay podcast, which has been streamed over 2,900 times, over 30 countries. And this woman believes that with God as the author and finisher of our faith, there is no box big enough to fit us. Today, she is a God chaser who is fulfilling her God-given purpose and teaching others to do the same. Woo, woo. Welcome to the show, Shaunte.
Thank you, Marlena. How are you? I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I am well. I am very excited for our conversation and so thankful that you agreed to do this. I am pumped to get into all of this goodness that I know you have to share. And people may not know, I don't know if you're listening now, Shaunte and I met, actually she reached, I don't know how you found out about me. I don't remember, but.
You were on the Glow Up Summit.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I was on Glow Up, and she reached out and interviewed me on her podcast. And that was, she reached out a long time ago, but just schedule and everything. We ended up, doing our interview earlier this year, and it worked out because at that point, God had really showed me that he wanted me to focus on mindset for the podcast. And when she and I did the interview, it just became very, very clear to me that this woman knows a thing or two about this area of mindset. So I just literally, right after the interview, right, it was like, wait a minute, girl, I'm gonna need you to come on my podcast and talk to my audience. So I'm just so excited to chat with you tonight, and just thank you so much for jumping on. So our chat today, as I mentioned, is going to be centered around, how we as Christian entrepreneurs can begin the process of overcoming our limiting beliefs. And like I said, you are quite the expert, I would say, on this subject. And I just think that I can't wait to just capture all of these gems. But first, I wanted you to share a little bit more about yourself with my Big Idea Food podcast listeners so that they can get to know a little bit more about you, who you are. I just read your bio and that gave us an idea, but please just feel free to share a little bit more about who you are and how you got into doing what you do.
Okay, sure. As you heard from my bio, I have a list of accomplishments, but I always see that as the wrapped package after I went through some stuff. So there was a journey before I got to being where I am today. And one of the things that made a really big impact on me is the fact that I went away to school to become a lawyer, and I came back, and I believe 3 months after really working, I went from, oh my God, this job is amazing, to there has to be more to life than this. Like, it was really quick. I was just like, nope. I know God did not spend all this time talking about he's making earth, the universe, our daily lives, and creating me for me to then have to go through this, what I called mundane schedule of wake up, eat, go to work, eat again, sleep, and go to church. I felt like I needed to do more. So I had that in my mind. And shortly after that, the place that I was working could no longer afford to keep me. So I was without a job. And I was without a job for 356 days. Not that anybody was counting, but I was out of a job. And I was like, God, what is this? When I tell you, I was mad at my community because I was like, first of all, you told us to get this education. I went, I got my education. I came back bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, master's degree at 21 years old, ready to work and make an impact in my community. And you want to tell me ain't nobody got a job for me at all? Everybody's saying I need 5 years experience. From where? So I was very, very disappointed. And then at the same time, I had just finished a 4.5-year relationship, and it ended like badly. So I was feeling really vulnerable, and I was also feeling really unwanted. And I just felt like I lost grasp with who I am and who God called me to be. And I felt out of alignment. So I was thinking to myself, I was just saying, I want to do something. I felt led to go to Thailand and India to volunteer. And I remember telling my parents, who are very supportive, but they also in their mind was like, I'm not giving you money to go to no Thailand and India. So it's cool. We could support you, but you don't got a job. Well, lo and behold, the job that couldn't take me on needed somebody temporarily for 3 weeks. I needed to go. It was $3,550 for me to go and volunteer for 6 weeks. When I tell you, I got this 3-week job from a job that hadn't been paying me. The job had been paying me about $3 an hour before as a lawyer, but that's besides the point. I got this job. I got the 3-week job, and they paid me $3,550. Okay, a little overflow because that's how the Lord does it. And I was just like, boom, I'm going. So this is between, like, I decided maybe January that I wanted to go, and by the 3rd week of February, I was in Thailand. So it was quick, very, very quick, but God needed to take me out of my environment, out of my comfort zone, for me to realign with who he is and what's important. And that was the time where I really was able to reflect on myself. And in that year, I think my life changed just astronomically, because I was out of a job for maybe less than a week. I mean, a year minus a week, so 356 days. And in that time I traveled. I traveled more than I have ever traveled in my life. This girl with no job. So God was just providing a way, providing a way, providing a way. And I was going around the world representing whoever needed me to go. And I was really getting in tune with who I am and what I'm called to do. So I knew that my calling had always been to help people, but I didn't quite know how to get that out apart from law. And I just started to say, well, you know what? I can talk about it because I'm naturally a talker. So why don't we just talk about it? And I decided to start a blog because I was like, well, that I didn't know much. I didn't know about podcasting at all. So I started a blog, and within 3 months, my blog was read by 85,000 people around the world. So it was really a jump, and God was just doing it. And I said, okay, God, now what else can I do? And I started in that year. I wasn't working my doctorate in Christian counseling. And then a few months later, I started life coaching and business coaching and getting certified in that. And then now got the podcast up and running, and the business is going smooth. And I'm still a parallelpreneur, I'm going to call it, because I'm still in my 9 to 5 and I'm running my business. But I know God has called me to be where I am right now. So while I build my business, I'm doing work however he wants me to do it until he releases me. So that's just a little bit about my background.
Oh, wow, girl. I see. I don't even think I knew this whole full entire story. And the $3,550, like, won't he confirm it? Like,
Yeah.
this
Like
is
he was like, you're going. Just in case you were confused.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So now you are life coaching, and what was the span of, what was the time frame of that whole story? When did that happen? In, like, was that the last 5 years, 3 years?
Oh, that was definitely 2000 and Shaunte. It's been about a little over 2 years actually.
All that happened in the past 2 years.
All that happened in the past 2 years. So
Whew.
just a little over 2 years, because I've been at my job now a little over 2 years, and it was the year right before that. So
Wow. No,
yeah.
I love to kind of get a gauge of, like, how much time transpired. And, it's just always interesting to see how God really, can catapult us quickly. You know what I'm saying? Some of our journeys take a little more time, and then others are just like, woo, let's go. So it's just really, really interesting to see how God just really guides.
Yeah, and I think that's so true, because when God says it's time, no matter where you are, he's just like, all right, well, you're doing that. And then all of a sudden it's just like this. And I feel like God has especially done a quick work in a lot of the different areas of my life. Like I had mentioned, I had done my bachelor's at 20 and my master's at 21, and I was not the smartest girl in school. I remember they had levels in my school for math, and 4 was the worst. That means you sucked at math. I was in 3. And that was a struggle for me as well. And I wasn't in the highest level at any point. But because of that, I had this stickability to study and learn and really develop what I knew that I struggled in. So I ended up being somebody who didn't come from the top where learning was easy, and still being the first person out of university, which was amazing to me, because I was just like, wow. And everybody's saying to me, you're so brilliant. I'm like, am I? That's nothing but God. That's really nothing but God.
Yes, yes. And that's how he will let people know, like, listen, okay, this story is too crazy for it to have happened any other way. So
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that, and giving us a little bit more on your background. And I kind of want to hear a little bit more about that too. I know, like I said, today we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs, and I know you kind of got to a place where, you're kind of teaching and training and helping people get over their limiting beliefs. And so I wanted to actually ask you, this is a little off script, but I wanted to ask you, how did you get to the point where you realized that limiting beliefs was something that needed to be touched on and talked about?
So I am a lover of how the mind works. Like it really, I get so into it. And that's why my doctorate is in Christian counseling with cognitive therapy, because I look at God's people sometimes. I'm like, God, I need you to explain this to me because I'm not understanding why they're acting like this or what is causing that. And I think I have such a unique gift. My friend described it perfectly to me. She said, you have the gift of cultivating purpose in other people. So because of that gift, when I see the purpose, but I see them not actually grabbing onto it and following through with what God called them to do, my mind is just like, okay, why? Why have you done that? I coach clients and I see them, literally, I see them climb into a box and close the lid with what they're saying and sit there comfortably. And I spend my time saying, you're not going to be, I watched you climb yourself in a box. We're going to pull you back out and we're going to kick the box to the curb, because I think it's so important to renew your mind. Romans 12:2, God says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if we don't get a grasp on our mindset, then what we think is actually possible, actually, we wouldn't even know what is possible because our mind wouldn't let us expand to think that. And it's important for us to believe in what's possible, to have faith. Yes, we need to do the work, but do you have faith that that thing can actually happen? Because if you don't have faith that it's going to happen, no matter how hard you work, you're really going to start working against yourself, which is something that people tend to do all the time without realizing it, is they're working against themselves because their beliefs don't line up with their actions. And when your beliefs don't line up with your actions, child, listen, then you are self-sabotaging and you don't even know it. So it was important for me to help people identify what their limiting beliefs are, because once you know about a thing, you can fight it. But have you ever gone to war to fight a fight that you didn't know you were fighting? Like, it, how can you win something you don't even know that you're fighting? So what's happening is that your brain is winning. And if I can just touch on limiting beliefs, like limiting beliefs are the negative thoughts that we have, that sometimes we don't even know we have. And they stem from past experiences. Whether the experience was good or bad, your limiting belief is what is going on in your head. So for example, let's say that you hate public speaking. Let's trace to the root of that. Why do you hate public speaking? You may have had a bad experience when you were in, I don't know, primary school. Maybe you were 8 and you had to get up and read in front of the whole assembly and people laughed at you. Because of that, your brain was like, we're not feeling this again. So we're going to say that we're going to avoid that by any cost necessary, because speaking is bad. Is speaking bad? No, but you have one bad experience. Your brain will continue on thinking that way past you actually even remembering that happened. So your brain is thinking that. And one thing about our brain is that it loves receipts. It likes to prove its own self right. So if you have a limiting belief, it will start proving its own point. So for example, I talked about this on my podcast a little bit, and I use my own self. I use the fact that a goal that I didn't accomplish in 2019. My goal was my health and fitness. Did not accomplish it. It wasn't it. And when you're tackling limiting beliefs, you have to look at it very strategically and without any like bias. Don't get emotional about it. You are really just being Inspector Gadget and looking at all the facts and coming to the end result. You don't get in your feelings, just look at what happened. And when I examine the external factors that happen, yes, I sprained my knee. Yes, I hurt my back. But what did that have to do with me eating right? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, and we know that 90% of weight loss, they say, is done in the kitchen. So that means I could have still been losing weight consistently, eating right, but I wasn't. So I had to work my way back for why I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And I came down to the fact that I didn't have enough time. That was my limiting belief. And guess what? Because I thought I didn't have enough time, guess what I did? I filled up my diary with other things to do instead of just scheduling it in. And I know for a fact that if I scheduled it in, nothing could have gotten in the way of that. But my brain was like, you don't have enough time, so let's just fill up your calendar just in case we want to double check. See, look at all the things you have to do that are not meal prep. When I know full well meal prep can take under an hour, and I had plenty of time to do it. But my brain was saying we don't have enough time for that, and so my actions were following that. So that's why I think it's so important to tackle your limiting beliefs.
Girl, okay. Whew. I feel like I just got set on fire with all of these gems that you are dropping because, like the fact that your brain is going to sit up here and literally prove everything that you believe, like that is so powerful. And then just the fact that, I think it's a very important distinction to call out that we are not our brain. And like so often we think that our thoughts are just us, and this is just how I am and who I am. But like you said, I love how you're describing this interaction between you and your brain, because your brain is this whole other entity that has been trained from the time that you first had a bad experience in elementary school up until now. And it's just moving and operating according to how it's built to function. But now you have to come in and say, wait, you know what? This isn't a function that I'm okay with. This isn't getting me to the goals that I see for myself. And just having that realization that you are separate from your brain and you are not your thoughts, I think is just a very, very powerful distinction that you really helped us see here. So I want to kind of work it, come on back. So you gave us a really good understanding of like what limiting beliefs are and what some examples of them are and why it's important to recognize them. So, I heard you starting to kind of share some of the the fact that we have to kind of attack them, what I'm saying? But walk us through, if you can, how do you begin the process of overcoming your limiting beliefs? Like, are there steps to doing this, and feel free to give us any strategies or methods that we can really try along the way.
Okay. So yes, there are steps to doing this. You can definitely combat and conquer your limiting beliefs. But before I even get to that, I want to let you know that your beliefs really determine what you think, your attitude, and your feelings. And because your beliefs determine all of those things, your actions then become a result of your beliefs, thinking, attitude, and feelings, which leads to the results that you're seeing in your life, right? Mm-hmm. And another popular one that us as Christians, especially sometimes Christians entrepreneur get stuck with, is the limiting beliefs around money.
Ooh, talk about it.
And that happens all the time because a lot of us, especially women of color, grow up with people saying things like money doesn't grow on trees and money is so hard to come by and all these different things that actually have been affecting us. Because if you grow up believing that money doesn't grow on trees or money is very hard to come by, or even that you have to work tooth and nail just to get a dime, the way you start acting and treating money, either you are very frugal and you're not giving your money to nobody, or you start acting like, I need to get this while I have the money to. So you're not a saver because you don't know when the next time money's going to come your way. So you want that instant gratification. So, I see it. I want it now because I don't know when money's going to come back. Or I need to show a symbol of status. So I'm going to buy that new car that I don't actually need just to prove that, just to prove to other people that I have money, because we don't really understand our negative beliefs that surround money as well. But one of the first steps that you have to do is to identify your limiting beliefs, because awareness gives you the opportunity to change. Like I said before, if we're not aware of the limiting belief, we can't fight it. So we have to. And I would say to start with a blame-free analysis. And I can give you some of the questions that I go through and I take people through to start with their blame-free analysis. And the questions are things like, if you think about a goal that you haven't achieved yet, you keep that as your overall theme. You're going to think about a goal you haven't achieved yet. Then you're going to ask yourself, was my goal realistic? Yes or no? Usually your goal is realistic. So why didn't you meet them? I want you to list the external factors, things that happened that was outside of your control, and then the internal factors, things that happened that you could control. The next thing I want you to focus on is your behavior, because although you can't control the external factors, how you react, what you did, you can control. How would you have made your behavior better? When I talked about me with my weight loss goal, my behavior could have been better if I was more consistent. That's something I knew I wasn't. I was not consistent in it at all. I did not set time aside from it. So I had a whole list of things that I could have done in this time that I didn't do. And it's so important to just recognize when you fall short. It's okay, it's life. But if you're able to recognize that you fell short in an area, you can build it up. And then you can ask yourself questions like, what outcome was I most afraid of? Because sometimes we're afraid of an outcome. Sometimes we are so settled in complacency that we don't even try anymore because we're afraid that if we try, we might fail. So we have to look at, were we afraid of something why we didn't do it? When it came to me and my weight loss, was I afraid of something? No, I just didn't do it because I was really inconsistent and lazy. And procrastination was winning every single time. Another thing you should notice is what patterns you observe, right? What patterns did you observe with you not achieving your goals, and what was the stories you told yourself? So for example, if you were saving up to buy a house, and however, every time something popped up, you just had to touch the money. You just had to. You had to. Why? Why do you feel like you had to touch the money? Why didn't you feel like maybe whatever popped up wasn't necessary, or you could have dealt with it in a different month? Why did you feel like you had to attack your savings all the time? What is the underlying reason? So I would say that is step one, to just really ask yourself questions, blame-free, emotionless, and get the answers. And then once you go through those questions, you'll come down to like the common thing. So my common thing was I didn't have enough time. Your common thing may be I'm afraid to fail. Or maybe it's I don't think I'm smart enough. Or maybe it's I don't think I'm beautiful enough. Whatever it is, it's back there and you will identify it. And the issue is that a lot of our limiting beliefs, because we all have them and we all have multiple limiting beliefs, but a lot of the time it's like I said, we don't actually know that this thought is in our mind because it's in our subconscious. Like that's how far down it's been drilled, that it's in your subconscious. So you don't even know you're thinking these things. But I know for a fact one of my limiting beliefs growing up was that I wasn't beautiful because I was teased all the time. So if so my behavior to people coming my way and calling me pretty was, oh, either you're lying or I'm gonna flock to you if you were a man, because I was like, oh, you think I'm pretty? You get what I'm saying? My behavior matched the problems that I was having. So I had to address that and actually say, no, you're beautiful, not because anybody else says you're beautiful. God called you beautiful. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. You have to look in the mirror and, appreciate what God has done. And eventually I got there, but it took some time. And I wouldn't have said I knew that I was doing that. Teenage version of me did not know that she was doing that, but it's so true. So once you find your limiting beliefs, you have to eliminate them. You have to, tell yourself they're not true, because
let me just stop you real fast, because you just said like a whole word and I just have to like make sure we just stop and pause here and receive. So, and really what you're telling us is these limiting beliefs, they take work to dig through your mess and figure out and find them. They're like under a rock, under a 10-foot cement stone underneath, layers and layers of more rock. You know what I mean? So I love that you gave us some real techniques to really starting to walk us through that process of uncovering, excavating them in a sense. So, if you're listening right now and you know that you are not really hitting your goals and you feel like, what is stopping me? I really hope that you take a second to just listen to that list of strategies that she gave you for really excavating and finding that limiting belief. And one thing I really do also want to put a pin here on is the fact that sometimes when you do get down to that belief, it can feel like it's just like the dumbest thing ever, right? Like, why do I believe it? Like when you finally find it and you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, like, why is that even something? Like, I would never say that out loud. You know what I mean? Or I would never. So can you give us kind of your perspective on that, and, just how we have to just not judge it, I guess, in a sense?
Yeah. So it's important that we don't judge when we're doing this excavating process, or else we get in our feelings and we never make it all the way to the bottom. The point is to have a blame-free analysis. What has happened in the past is in the past, but you should congratulate yourself that you know that you need a change and you're actually working towards changing. That means you're doing something that a lot of people haven't even done yet. And you're saying, you know what, there's something wrong. I keep setting goals. I keep not reaching them. I stop short before I get them. Why is that? I want to see a change. And once you do that and know that this is for your benefit, that it's just really you and yourself going through this process, or you and a coach if you do use a coach. But knowing that once you make it through to the other side of this and find out what's actually been stopping you and then come back and overcome it, you will see the fruit almost immediately. Because you just switch up what you're doing, because you identify what is stopping you. So the next time you may, for example, if I use me, the next time I may not feel like or don't think I have enough time to meal prep, I will say to myself, you know what? You have time. It'll take you 15 minutes to put something in the slow cooker and let it cook, and it'll be done by the time you get home. So get up and do it for 15 minutes. But I had to know, right? I had to identify that is the thought that I was having, or else I wouldn't have known and I would have just went along. So don't blame yourself. The past is the past. You're about to have a brand new future, a brand new decade. Be happy that you decided to make this change.
Yes, 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 yes. And so you kind of started to now give us that next step. So walk us through what step 2 is.
Yeah. So step 2 is to eliminate. So once you find the belief, what it is, eliminate it. So look at it, laugh at it if you need to. See it for what it is. Something that was trying to protect me from feeling a certain way, but I don't have to feel about the same way about it. Because at the end of the day, usually your limiting beliefs has a purpose. And of course you're like, they have a purpose. Yes, they were protecting you from something at the end of the day, but you're deciding that you don't need to be protected from that. That was a one-off incident, or maybe that happened a couple of times, but this is going to be different. So you're going to eliminate them by creating new beliefs that serve who you are as a person, your goals, your purpose, and what you want to achieve. So this is very important. You're going to have to shift your identity. You are going to have to change from the inside out. A lot of us trying to change from the outside in. And this is where we go wrong, because we are a society that we do something for a specific goal in mind. So let's say I did something for the goal of losing weight. I'll just stay along that. And all I wanted to do was lose 10 pounds. Guess what happens? I get to 10 pounds. I'm so excited that I lost 10 pounds that I stopped doing everything, right? That got me there so that I can continue or maintain. That's because we're shifting ourselves to match the goal instead of shifting our identity. Now, if my identity was that I am a runner, right? Then the goal would be just to run. So I needed to shift my identity to, okay, I am a runner. And when you are something, you don't have to think about it anymore. You just do. Nobody can tell you how to be a woman. You're just a woman. That's because that's who you are. That's your identity. So if I am a runner, nobody can tell me to run. That's just something I get up and do naturally. If I eat healthy, that's just something I get up and do naturally. If I save, that's just something I get up and do naturally. I walk around and I have the gift of faith, as my friends put it, or I say my superpower is faith. And I walk around saying that I'm a multi-billion-dollar business owner. And I feel no way about it. And I could say it in my sleep and it rolls over my tongue. And I say it boldly because it has become who I am. So how I govern myself, my actions, my habits match my identity as that. Now, if I kept saying that, well, my goal is just to open a business. That's my goal. I want to open a business. That's not your goal. You are a business owner. The result is that you opened a business. But who are you? So we have to shift our identity to come into alignment with our purpose and who God has called you to be. You can't just set goals and say, okay, I'm going to work towards the goals, because it would never, once you hit it, you're going to get off track. And there's always a low period before you see a result in a goal that people tend to fall off. So some people can go all the way up to the goal and reach it, and that's great. But most of us get stuck in this period where we're not seeing any progress. We're not seeing the results yet, but we still have to have the stickability and consistency to work our way out. But if we focus on becoming 1% better every day at whatever it is that we're doing, then we overcome what has stopped us in the past. Because I'm just going to be 1% better. I think when I had you on the podcast, you were talking about how you journal. And I was like, that's going to be my goal this month. I'm going to work on, being journaling. So now I can't remember when we did our interview, but I have journaled consistently. And it has been so refreshing to the fact, thank you, to the fact that I at whatever time right before I go to bed, am so excited because I write in my journal like I'm talking to Jesus, and I'll tell my mom, I would just say, I'm going to go have Jesus time. I'll close my door and say, hey, Jesus, what up, with my journal, and I will start writing. But that has now become who I am. I carry that thing around all the time. You would never think that a month ago, I just had a bunch of empty journals around. I have written in that thing all during the day, in between court. Like, I am consistently writing, and it's so refreshing. But that's because I had to change my mind of who I am. That's so cool. If you're working on, even if you wanted to be more consistent with reading your Bible and doing devotions, it has to become who you are. It's not just a goal that, okay, I'm going to read my Bible every single day for the next year. I'm going to hit the challenge. No, I am a Bible lover. Just what I do. I love being in the presence of God. I love reading his word. So because it's just who you are, you just do it. It's just a byproduct. You don't have to try anymore.
Woo. So I'm just like, I'm literally, y'all, I'm sorry. I am just like so loving every minute of this. I just want to let you just talk. But I have to just like break it back. Like, so, again, as this relates to step 2, eliminating the limiting belief. And what you're telling me is, whatever the goal is, the step, I guess, to the methods or one of the methods or strategies of really getting over or eliminating or eradicating that limiting belief is to create like an I am statement, like an identity statement in a sense, and an affirmation, I guess, is what you're telling us. Like, if you have a goal, it's not being reached, I am just trying to hit this goal. Well, now, okay, let's not think about the goal. Let's think about, who do I have to become in order for this to be my life, my lifestyle. So I love that. So, what I'm gathering is that a way to sort of eliminate our limiting beliefs is through affirmations. And I have been finding that to be so true. Like never before in my own life, I have just been going at it, and there is so much, it takes war, like once you find that thing, like I said in my first newsletter of the year, I talked about this, like we have to eliminate those inhabitants that are in our mind. And that's what these limiting beliefs are. And you literally, that thing comes up that, like you said, I don't have enough time to meal prep. No, matter of fact, boo, you got plenty of time, and this is what you're going to do. So I just love that, you're really equipping us to go to battle against this stuff and knock it out. And I love how simple you're making it, because it even though it is involved, it's a process, it's still something that is so achievable, and nothing can stop us from going after these inhabitants. We will win. So thank you so much for that. So anyway, I just had to stop and come in there with that step 2. So are there any other strategies for step 2? And then are there any other steps afterwards?
So basically, I think I merged step 2 and 3 into each other when I was talking, because I get excited and then I just keep going. So step 2 was to eliminate your limiting beliefs. And then step 2 was to eliminate your limiting beliefs by creating new beliefs that serve you, right? And then step 3 was shifting your habits and your behavior to match your identity. And that is shifting your identity of who you are. So for example, the goal for you used to be write a book, but that's not really what the goal is. The goal is for you to become a writer. The goal is not for you to open a business owner. It's for you to be, not to open a business, but become a business owner. So your goals, if you're going to have any sort of goals, it should be the goal of shifting your identity, not the short-term goals.
Got it.
It has to be shifting your identity, because at the end of the day, we have these limiting beliefs that are playing against us. And what it is that sometimes we are so caught up in our limiting beliefs and what they're causing us and preventing us from doing, that the devil don't even need to mess with us. Like, we're over here talking about, oh, the devil, he's doing this and he's a liar. Yes, he is a liar, but you are the one stopping yourself. I remember reading a quote, and I can't remember who wrote it, but they said, whether you can or you can't, you're both right. Because it's true. It's down to what you believe. It's really down to what you believe. So if you never believe that you're going to come up out of poverty, you never will. If you never believe that you're going to be in a healthy romantic relationship with a spouse, then you never will. If you never believe that you will be a #1 best-selling author, then you never will. You won't even try. That's how messed up this is. Your limiting beliefs will stop you from even trying. So we have to be able to conquer it, because God has promised us exceeding and abundant above all we can even ask or think. So if he's giving us all that, but our lives are like down here, we need to know what's stopping us from reach something that he's already promised. And he's not a God that he will lie. So if that's what he said, that's what you should expect. That's what you should believe in. However, what are you doing personally to make sure that you reach that? Because God's like, hey, your abundance is here. I just need you to come on a little higher. Maybe be a bit more consistent. Maybe, have some discipline. You don't have no discipline. Every time your friends come, they want to go out, you're off going, but I need you to be still in this moment. You have to identify what is causing your negative behavior that is working against you. So it's super duper duper important, because the last thing I like to see is somebody so consumed by their limiting beliefs that they no longer even know how to try. They're kind of just wallowing in wherever they are, thinking it's everybody else's fault, thinking the system has played them, thinking that X, Y, and Z person did X, Y, and Z, and that's why they're in their situation, when it's not. It's just something that has happened that you haven't had a moment to really process, identify, eliminate, and overcome. And once you do those 3 steps, really, and actually start implementing things, then you start seeing a difference. Now, don't do those 3 steps just to write it down and just, okay, found what it is, I'm going to shift my identity, and don't work at it. You have to work at it. It's so important. This is not okay, I've done it once, great. No, I have to be intentional about eating healthy. I had to be intentional about shift until your identity has shifted and that just becomes who you are. You need to be intentional till you get to that point. So until my until my identity shifted into me calling myself a multi-billion-dollar business owner, I had to keep saying it, like literally morning affirmation. I have Amazon Echo. Alexa is saying, "Good morning, Shaunte. You're a multi-billion-dollar business owner. Today you're going to win." Like, she is giving me affirmations every morning still, until it was in my head enough that I can just, it just rolls. I will tell a stranger that. I mean, I have people have heard me say that so much, it's become a part of who I am, that they'll say it in belief with me. Like, how's that? Like, I'll be in church and somebody say, I thank God because Shaunte is a multi-billion-dollar business owner. Well, won't he do it? You caught it too. You get what I mean? That's how much it becomes a part of you. Whatever it is that you're working toward, it has to be one to where you don't even have to think about it anymore. Just like you don't have to think about being a woman. I don't think you probably ever had to think about being a woman, but you just are.
Girl.
So do something till you just are it.
And I mean, you said it. You said a word, because faith comes by hearing, right? And it's not just faith in Christ. You know what I'm saying? No, that is a law of the world. That whatever you continue to hear, that is what you will believe. And I love that you using Alexa. You got technology involved in this thing. Like, listen, I got to shift my identity. And so I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that. And I'm going to get creative about how I go after that. But at the end of the day, I have to retrain my mind. And to do that, I have to continually hear, whether I'm telling myself this every single day, whether other people are now hearing it and catching on, or whether I got Alexa or whoever talking to me and letting me know that is, you are activating a spiritual principle of faith comes by hearing. And the more that you hear it, the more you'll believe it. The more you believe it, the more your mind and your activities and everything in your life is going to change. I love
God
it.
says in his word that we should say the things that aren't so as if they are. Yes. So if that's your responsibility, why aren't you doing that? If life and death is in the power of your tongue, why aren't you using that? Like too many times we shy from our power and authority when God has asked us to walk in it boldly. Like, who else? You are walking around with so much power and authority and discernment. You have the Holy Spirit inside of you, and you want to just pretend like you're some regular schmegler somebody. Like, no. Walk in it boldly and profess who you are. And when those thoughts rise up that are against your identity, you call those things out. You're like, not today. You're not going to bother me. Like, you have to make up in your mind that it's not going to happen. I remember when I was working on being peaceful, right? And I remember after that, I was fasting and praying, and I was holding on to my peace. Like, my mind was set that I had such a good time in God. No one and nobody was going to bother me. Cue Monday morning in a courtroom. The judge starts going off at me for no apparent reason. Nothing that required that much. Nothing. It required one sentence. He made it a paragraph. So me to myself was like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're not going to affect me today because the Lord has blessed me beyond reason and I am keeping my face. So I have to tell myself to fix my face because my face will, size myself, fix your face. I'm like, fix my face. So I had no reaction to what he had to say to me. I was just like, so because my face was so peaceful, he was like, are you laughing at? Is there something funny? I said, no, there's nothing funny. But what I know you're not going to do is take my peace today. And if I give you the reaction you're looking for, then you'll be satisfied and I'll be upset. Oh, no, sorry. You ain't having it. But I had to make up my mind or else that little thing would easily affect me. And I find myself having to consistently do that because I am determined that peace is my identity. So when people rise up and I give them like, you got 10 minutes of me being irritated, that's too much of my time. My time is money. That is too much for me to think to you. The last time I was irritated for more than 10 minutes, it turned into a podcast episode because I was like, you're not winning, devil. So you're not going to play me today. I said I am a peaceful person. That is who I am. That's my identity. Yes, I am a lawyer. Yes, I can argue, but doesn't mean I need to do it all the time. That is for a time and a place, and time and place is not my personal time. So bye-bye, sir.
Period.
Period.
Oh my God. Ooh, and the way that those, the same way limiting beliefs kind of stack on each other, so do our positive affirmations of our identity. Your identity of peace is supporting your identity of this multi-billionaire, and you can't affect my peace because that affects my time. Time is money. I'm a billionaire. I don't got time. So I just love that. There's a connection with all of this. All of this work is so, so needed. And girl, I just feel I could talk to you like forever. I feel like this could be a 2-hour conversation, but I have to just transition us over, because this is just so good. But I want to make sure that I give my listeners a taste into some more specific tools and things that you recommend. So I want to transition over into our lightning round. I'm still coming up with a name for it, but it's kind of, I'm calling it my top 5. And I want you to share your top 5 things that will help my listeners slay their mindset goals this year. And the way it works is you just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So what is your favorite daily practice for cultivating a successful mindset?
Affirmations.
Love it. What is your favorite affirmation, mantra, or scripture that always helps you get your mind right?
Favorite affirmation, I'm a multi-billion-dollar business owner. My favorite scripture, my father is rich in houses and land, and be anxious for nothing. My favorite quote, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We asked ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, talented, gorgeous, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? We are all children of God. We were meant to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in all of us. Favorite quote.
Ooh, y'all, she gave y'all the whole poem, okay? She gave you the quote, mantra, affirmation, scripture. I hope y'all are writing this down. I will link to these things in the love all of those quotes and those scriptures. And I love that poem. Or is it a poem, sonnet? I don't know. Anyway. So
whatever it is good.
It's great. Okay. So what is your the best book, podcast episode, event, or just, resource in general that you've consumed for mindset development in the past year?
Best book, Atomic Habits. Best event for mindset. I have no idea.
Yeah, and it's okay. You only have to give us one thing. So you gave us Atomic Habits. I love that book. Swear by that book. What entrepreneur?
Oh, I knew.
Oh, you got one?
Anything from Dr. Caroline Leaf. She's a Christian a neuroscientist. So she basically tells you what science says, and she tells you how it proves that God is real and with your brain, and how to think better. So anything from her, yes. And she has a podcast.
Yes, I will definitely link to that in the show notes. That's something I've been praying about, is that God would send me more Christian perspective on the area of our mind. So I am so thank you. You girl, let him use you. Will you let him use you? All right. So what entrepreneur would you trade mindsets with for a day?
Maya Elias.
Oh yeah, hands down. Like, let me get just a nugget of that woman's just bossly beastness, okay?
I'd be writing up a storm.
Anyway. I love it. Now, last thing is, if you could recommend one thing for someone to do, listening in my audience, to significantly shift their mindset in the next 30 days, what would it be?
Overcome your limiting beliefs.
There you have it, y'all. So, Shaunte, you have given us so many gems, y'all. I hope y'all are taking notes. I want to find out, I know that you have coaching offerings and things like that. So tell us what resources you offer to help with overcoming our limiting beliefs. And then also let us know where we can find you, book you, and keep in touch with you.
Sure. So I am a certified life coach, and when we're working and business coach. So depending on where your limiting beliefs lie, either you need business coaching or life coaching. But what I'm really excited about right now is my Create It For More program, where I spend 6 weeks going in deeply to limiting beliefs, as well as your purpose, your vision, procrastination, things that may be stopping you, because I believe that it's important for you to address your mindset so that everything else that you have inside can come forth. So I created a course to combine everything that I had to do over that year and even longer into 6 weeks. And if you want more information on that, it's the Purpose Chaser Academy.com/created for more. And you can find me on Instagram at Shaunte Sapphire. You can email me at hello@ShaunteSapphire.com. And that's Shaunte Sapphire with 1 P, not with 2 P's.
Got it. And y'all, I will link to all of her details in the show notes. Y'all better jump on it. Listen, I'm going to look into it for my own self, okay? Shaunte, this was an amazing, amazing interview. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Yes. All right, there you have it.